everyone. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Wendy Shane JB Hillia from Tree Allen Pipes. And for today's video, we're going to continue our topic about OPE. The topic for today is about the procedure to implement OPE and also the models of OPE and its features. So let's proceed to our topic. The first topic is the procedure to implement OPE. And the first procedure is identification of educational objective of subject course. Under it is the implementing outcome-based education or OBE is identification of its sets of objectives, aims, or goals. Before taking this comprehensive approach, certainly of its standard are expected and result must first be reflected and enumerated and elaborated clearly in its objectives, which will serve as a guiding path in the process or implementation. Some of its notable objectives that all persons involved must fully or clearly understand are: first, OPE aims to develop or produce globally competitive graduates by helping them focus directly on the process of learning and final outcome or results. The number two is OPE aims to establish conditions and opportunities within the system to enable and encourage learners to achieve their outcomes. The summary of first procedure is therefore vital that every learner from different subject courses can be able to develop or top the standard or expected knowledge, skills, and attitude required in his or her chosen field of specialization. Prior to graduation for him or her also be considered industry use or globally competitive. The second procedure of implementing OBE is listing of learning outcomes specified for each subject course objective. Under of it is this access of any implementing plans, rules, processes, or approaches usually lies at the end result or outcome prior full implementation of OBE or any other educational learning approaches. There is really a need to note or list down all the learning outcomes specified for each subject courses to be subjected for evaluation and recommendation. Since OBE was fully implemented, it clearly implies that most common, if not all learning, outcomes are positive. The third and last procedure in implementing OBE is drafting outcome assessment procedure. Under it, as I've said earlier, the full implementation can only be possible after all our in-depth study or analysis of the end result of the process employed. This also involves the drafting outcome assessment before having the final version of results. In this process, all results will be carefully studied and analyzed to come up with a clear version of the gathered data needed for a final implementation of the approach or the words, the basis in drafting the said approach. So finally, we're done with the procedure of implementation of OBE. So let's move on to the models of OBE and its features. So the first features of OBE is intended learning outcomes. When we say intended learning outcomes, it is the statement of what students are expected to be able to do as a result of engaging to the learning process. The second one and its features is the assessment. Assessment of learning occurs throughout the learning process. It is designed to make each student's understanding visible. Next, the third one is learning activities. They take note of the word activities. It is the activity that was designed or deployed by the teacher to bring out or create the conditions condition of learning prior to the topic they discussed. Last but not the least is the learning experience. Learning experience is the center of OBE. Students must be placed at first in our design of the learning outcomes. Before those three, we must first consider the learning experience of the students. So that's all for the procedure of implementation of OBE and also for the models and features of OBE. Thank you for your listening, and let's move on to the K-12 that will be discussed by the night group mates.